My name is Chris, I like to paint things, and this is a $3 Reaper Bones mini. Why do I have a $3 Reaper Bones mini? Well, he's cheap, I bought him locally, and I plan to use him as my necromancer in the new miniatures agnostic skirmish game, Deth Wizards. This is Kyrian the Tallow Hand or something. I don't know, you saw his face on the thing. He's $3, he's my necromancer, and I decided at the same time to pick up a little cohort of zombie pirates. Really fun, cartoony, full of detail, and dirt cheap. Over the years, I've showcased some games from a company called Snarling Badger Studios. That's Uncle Adam and Vince Venturella, and this is their newest offering, Deth Wizards. You control a necromancer in the land of death, raise undead, kill peasants and heroes. It is a very, very interesting and cool game with phenomenal art, and adds to my collection. Like I said, I sourced really cheap models locally for this. If you already have models, then you don't even need to do this step, but Reaper Bones makes some of the cheapest, most fun, characterful models you can find, and they're, between $3 and $8. I mean, I have this entire warband cost me like $10 probably. 3 zombie pirates, and a spooky ghost man we're gonna paint up. In this video, I'm going to paint up my necromancer, Ambrosius, a name I stole from a band called Gnome. I'm also going to paint up a spooky ghost using some awesome dry brushing steps. If you like cool dry brush layering, stay tuned for that because I think he's the best painted model in the Force. And then I'm going to use a bunch of contrast paint and speed paints on a bunch of undead, skeleton pirates. We're going to build an evil pirate crew. We're going to, cause some trouble for those menacing kids. My name is Chris. I like to paint things, and today we're going to build up a sweet force for Deth Wizards. Reaper Bones minis are made of various types of plastic. The white plastic tends to be, I won't say lower quality, but it's the one you gotta take the most care for.
Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
It doesn't hold as much detail as the gray and black Reaper Bones models, but they're still very, very nice. They do require a little bit of work. I'm sure it's just like basic injection molding. I'm not an expert on the process, but they have some flash you gotta trim away, and be careful because they don't just come clean away with like the back of a hobby knife like a lot of other plastics do. You actually have to cut everything. It took a little bit of prep work, but again, for $3, am I gonna complain that there's some mold lines on a wizard? Nah. The Ghost Pirates, on the other hand, had similar problems, but their plastic came away a little bit nicer, or at the very least, they were a little easier to see what's going on. I mean, it was so easy that even Moxie helped me out. She definitely tried to steal that knife and threaten me with it first. Don't eat those. Don't eat those, cat. I also wash these because they typically don't, but sometimes Reaper models can have like a weird mold release on them, so I just kind of give them a nice, rinse in some warm water with a brush and a thumbs up, and then consult a cat to watch over them while I dry them on the windowsill, because I really wanted to get to work super fast. Now, joke's on me, because someone decided that one of these models looked really tasty. I'm assuming Ambrosius must be catnip flavored, I don't know, but I couldn't find him anywhere. There you are. Jeez. And covered in hair. Lovely. Anyway, with that sorted, it's time to prime these bad boys. Some Reaper models, they suggest not spray priming, as the spray prime, like from a rattle can, will never actually harden. It always stays a little bit tacky, or dry rather, not hardened, but you know what I mean. So I just opt for like a coat or two of black paint. Sometimes you can just give them like a matte varnish over this and everything's cool, but I find if you just let this sit for like long enough, it counts as primer, and then I'm gonna varnish these bad boys anyway, so that paint's not coming off. They do make brush on primers, but I'm not fancy, so I just opted for a matte clear coat. Now, as a person who takes a lot of inspiration for paint schemes from the internet, I agree that ghost design goes super hard. So for our ghost, we're going to do a lot of dry brush layering. We're gonna go teal. I might add the orange eyes later. I haven't decided on orange eyes yet. We're gonna really push the contrast on this model, and the easiest way to do that I've found lately is dry brushing. You grab yourself a nice soft makeup brush, and you just do layers and layers and layers of you know, progressively lighter highlights with dry brushing. So this is almost a full base coat of Cantor Blue. I think it's even Cantor Blue mixed with like a little bit of black. And then I slowly mix in that Hydra Turquoise literally on my palette. Like, you don't even need to like measure this out. You just do a little more and you add it to the paint that's already on the brush, because obviously a dry brush, you're not, you know, you're not washing it in between these steps. You're slowly letting that build up. Then after I was basically doing pure Hydra Turquoise, I decided to add some Ivory. Ivory is like the great universal highlight color. I find that just adding in, again, drops and drops of Ivory till we're doing like this insane, I mean, you can see it here. Look at the difference between the shading on the bottom and the shading on the top. Really building up some levels and some highlighting. I thought he looked amazing here. And honestly, I should just let this ghost like this. He was pretty great. But he needed some extra steps, and I can never leave models alone. I decided to push that contrast even more using some titanium white from Pro Acryl. Maybe the best white I have ever used. This helped a lot, but it definitely left direct white streaks on the model. Like, instead of like nice light blue highlights, it was like very, you know, sharp highlights of white. If anything, I should have done this with a brush, but I was lazy. Now this is the last stage of this model that I absolutely love. I thought I needed to up the vibrancy, or at least the blue hue, by adding some speed paint over it. I used the same speed paint on these guys. At least I thought I did.
I used to be an adventurer like you.
Boy, they're ugly. I like the models. The models are fun, but that guy himself is very ugly. I thought, and honestly, Lizard Folk Cyan, very deceiving pot of paint. It looks much more vibrant in turquoise, and I'm sure over like white, it probably is. But if anything, it dulled down and darkened this blue paint job that I was doing. I put it on, and I kind of regretted it, but I let it sit to see. It did make all of the shadows nice and blue, and it blended those highlights super well. I think, honestly, if using a dry brush, this almost looks airbrushed. My favorite stage is getting this base coat layer done really well, because then you just add on a few, you know, base coats, like solid base coats, and it really sells that vibrancy change. I'm trying to look almost like I airbrushed the thing, but really it's just dry brush work. Then I went with a stone recipe that I've kind of worked on the fly with some sponging over a dark carapace or dark stone, a color from the army painter that I honestly would not recommend. It's a good base coat for stuff like this, but I don't know. Then I figured, you know, we need some moss. I'm trying to throw in a few extra colors, probably unnecessary, and we're going to dilute all of these colors later. It's important to know when you're going to plan on chucking a wash on top of stuff that things can look very, very striking, like these browns and greens, and they are going to go away. I promise you, once we slap a wash on them, they're going to go away. This model was the first model I painted in this crew, and man, I gotta tell you, he got me so excited to finish the set. I knew this was gonna be awesome the second I got all of these base coats down and threw on some washes. The second I saw this model, I was like, this dude is going to murder some peasants. It's basically like having a blue version of the, you know, the Witch King. That's kind of the vibes I got. Then I took a black wash and I went over a lot of stuff with the black wash to try and really up my contrast again. To mixed results. For some reason, I thought that the blue was too, I don't know. Somehow I thought a black wash was going to brighten things up. And let me tell you folks, a black wash never lightens things up. It does make that stone look phenomenal. And it really added, you know, I think it upped the contrast, but it definitely dulls the entire model. And that's okay. Sometimes, you know, if you take a wash can be unifying. But looking back, honestly, wish I never put a wash in this bad boy at all. Make sure to pop all your bubbles too. I'm Chris. I'm in a mysterious warehouse, and I don't think they're gonna let me go unless you like, comment, and subscribe. So, help a dude out. I don't know what goes on in places like this, and I don't want to find out. Nope.
Do what you want, 'cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate.
Now, I wanted to include these models, they're Frostgrave cultists, just to show you that, like, anyone can be an undead pirate, right? You can use lots of different models for these, for this game, and that's kind of the beauty of it. These Reaper Bones guys really spoke to me. It's when I went thematic. I kind of want to go the opposite of blue, so we're going to go all red. And red is a really fun color to layer up if you kind of know what you're doing. I think it's the first color I found I enjoyed, even like glazing. I have a couple orc models with really nice glazes on them. Red, I find you can even start from either a brown, or you can mix red and a brown and start with like a nice dark coffee color, something like that. It's really, really good base coat for red. Plus, red covers nicely on top of these browns, and you can really build up vibrancy and contrast. Actually, I learned this red technique from Midwinter Minis of all people, painting Blood Angels, weirdly. But you can really see the difference that adding values of dry brush highlighting adds. And this is going to be a theme throughout this entire project, starting with the ghost and these guys. Like, dry brush highlighting is my favorite, especially when I want to get something quick and dirty and on the table. It also adds a little bit of grim darkness to it. Then I had to make skin, and I thought, speed paints, right? Easiest way to get speed paints is just do something over white or like light gray. So I base coated all of the skin, like the exposed skin, with a very, very pale white color, because I kind of figured like a gross flesh color over pale gray gonna be pretty good for Undead. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm using like a very worn, just old crap brush. This brush was my workhorse for the entirety of last year, and it's still getting me through this year because genuinely these models are quick, they're dirty, they're covered in different glazes of, you know, speed paints and washes, and everything's gonna blend. They do not need to be neat, I guess is my point. Anyone can paint, especially if you want to paint quick and dirty like I do. I have some models that I think are fun. I don't know about phenomenally painted. Things I'm very proud of. And these I'm also proud of, but I'm proud of how quickly I achieved just like a pretty decent Undead look, right? I mean, that's not bad. He's gross, and you know he's a pirate. Now we just got to add some details. So we got to pick out things like hair, you know, the metal on him, some of the leather bits. Those are really, really easy. I have some go-to colors for those. I'm sure you all do in your arsenal, right? Every single pirate got different colored hair. The one in front of you is going to get like a nice black beard, but it's really an off gray beard because it's easier than painting it all the way black. One's going to have white, and I think one has brown. I don't remember. I painted these guys like 3 weeks ago, not to spoil the movie magic. And then we cover all of our, you know, ropes and our garbs and stuff with mummy robes, which is like an off-white. And leather. I do change this leather color a little bit later on a few of them and make it darker because brown and red obviously are very similar. You can use the same brown for wood. Again, nothing special here. Then I tied everything together with, I think it's the mummy robes, just like a dusty overbrush. Not even overbrush, sorry, wrong word. Dusty dry brush. Do that before the metallics so you don't make the metallics look bad. I've decided today that I'm not going to really edit this voiceover. That being said, we're going to use marine juice. Marine juice, if you haven't seen before, is black wash, brown wash, and medium mixed in even parts. It is like my new favorite thing. Sonic Sledgehammer introduced me to marine juice. That's like one of the best, just straightforward painting channels you could find on YouTube. I'll leave a link for them as long as I remember. Again, zero editing on this. I'm just going to start talking. I'm already kind of over it, and I got stuff to do today. But marine juice looks dingy going on, but when it dries, man, it brings all those colors together, makes all the shading great. These guys look good. I mean, this was like 2 hours max for all three of them. Then I had to do some highlights. You take the same base colors, you know, and the nice thing about the marine juice is it darkens things down enough that you can just use the same base colors, mix them with some ivory, and go to town. Now, I can't lie. The reason this video took so long was that I had no idea what to do with Ambrosius here. Why do I name him Ambrosius? I don't know. I think it's a good name. We're going to do dry brush highlighting again. Like I said, every single thing is going to be, but I wasn't sure what color. So just start. The best thing you can do to start painting is just start. Just do something. Here, I'm going to do... My gosh, it's raining. It's absolutely pouring outside, ladies and germs. 1 second. Editor Chris here, and oh my god, the sky is falling. Holy crap. Folks, look at this. Not to swear, but jeez. Yeah, I edited in my living room. What is going on outside? Spooky. Okay, bye. Okay, snap back to reality. What was I saying? Oh yes, I was saying the most important thing you can do when mini painting, when you don't know what to do, is just do something. So on Ambrosius here, I thought, let's just dry brush him. Let's just like pick out the details and just like, so I know what I'm working with. So I did like 2 dry brushes of a gray and then like a white on top, just to really get the feel for the model in my hands. And then I decided, well, we're gonna go purple. We have blue ghosts, we have red pirates. We're gonna mix the 2 and go purple. And purple's a great wizard color. So we do the same exact thing. And this is nothing new to this video. If there's anything you should take away from this video is, 1, I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, and I like to record in the middle of a thunderstorm. And 2, dry brush layering is phenomenal. Like, look at this. All you gotta do is just slowly mix up your colors. Just slowly, ever so gently add it in. Do a couple hits, and then, man, already that's a really nice purple. And purple is a fun color to paint. You can layer it very easily with a brush, but dry brushing is almost cheating. So at this point, I knew he wanted to be purple. Well, I wanted him to be purple. Someone wanted him to be purple. So I just hit him with a black wash and left him for probably 3 days while I figured out what to do with the rest of old Ambrosius here. After that dried, he was super dark, but that's okay because we can always brighten him back up. I don't even think I mixed any of that squid pink in. So we go over with the squid pink and do a very light dry brush and pick out some really nice crispy edges. Then we just start picking out things that we know should be certain colors. So I mixed up a very, very like dark gray flesh color for him. We mixed gray and a skin, and it made like a really pale, sickly old man flesh, because I think that's probably what Ambrosius here would look like. And then I decided, you know, wizard's got to have a gray beard, right? Like, he's old. He's been a hermit for a long time, figuring out how to raise the undead. Again, pick out colors that you know should be colors. Once you have, like, an idea in mind, I know that purple and white look good together. That's really all that matters. You know what also looks good with purple? Just like wood, brown. I mean, brown and gray, they work with everything because they have to, because those are real natural colors. I'm really like fleshing out what I want him to look like at the end of the day in my composition without even knowing it yet. It's kind of the only way I could figure out to get over roadblock. Another thing that makes zero difference too at the end of the day is what color these books are. It doesn't matter if these books are green or if they're brown, whatever they are, just fill them in, just block them in. I have no idea, but I know that books can be black and they can be brown and they can be red. So what did I do? Paint them that color. You know what else needs to get painted? The pages of said books. So we just go white. Like I said, it's easy, guys. I mean, I say it's easy. This model sat on my desk just staring at me while I recorded an entire other video that has been out since. So Ambrosius here is looking like pretty halfway done. And then hit him with some metallics and just like the spots that had a couple metallics and a couple other base coat colors. I figure purple and orange, good contrast together. And I mean, that's it. Like, what else do you want? He's got all the colors in the right places. All that he really needs now is just some sort of wash. I decided our wizard needs to have its own little sleepy chunk on his shoulder. Isn't that right, Maxine? Look at this sleepy little chunk. So that's what I did. I painted this little guy, I don't know what it is, into my own Moxie. Mighty, mighty Moxie. I've never painted a calico before, and it's honestly not that hard. I couldn't do it on camera, though. It's way too tiny. Look at that little peanut butter face. If you ever want to paint your own calico, they're black, burnt orange, and kind of gray, I guess. I don't know. She's very cute, though. And then we mix up another set of marine juice, because marine juice is, 1, gonna solidify everything, and 2, just kind of makes all the models like work together. I also threw in a little bit of this leather brown in certain areas and just went over the entire model. I used that leather and kind of put it in mostly recesses and areas I wanted to be a little bit dirtier, so like the bottom of his robes and the cat and some of the orange and browns, but not everything. I didn't want everything to have that brown. Some of it just got, you know, standard marine juice. And I also didn't want to darken this model too much because he's already had like 2 layers of wash. Right now, looking pretty sweet. After all those washes dried, Ambrosius here is looking pretty good. I mean, for not knowing like what colors I wanted to paint him, I think he came out all right. He's a little bit dark, but all we have to do now is highlight him. Just take all your base coats, mix in a little ivory, and build up contrast.
Listening to the litter box.
And with all that done, I was left with this awesome horde of the Undead. After playing a few games of this with my brother, we kind of realized the necromancer is insanely powerful. Ideally, they should never lose in combat. If anything, they did most of the work in the games we tried. Ambrosius here is a stitcher. He has a strong bond with his undead, and he can heal them, which I thought was fitting. He's been on a boat with these guys for a long time, and he really likes them. I wanted to do the spirit collar to raise the spirit, but you know. Anyway, it's an awesome rulebook. You should really check out Deth Wizards, which, if you're watching my video, you've probably seen Deth Wizards before you've seen my video, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I've been Chris. I like to paint things, and thank you so much if you made it this far. I appreciate you. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all of that really silly nonsense that you're supposed to do in order to drive my ability to make more videos. I enjoy making videos, and if I have, feedback, people saying they liked or disliked it, that helps. Pretty rad. There will be links in the description, links in all the places that you want to go, and even a couple that you don't. Anyway, take it easy, folks. Have a good one.